Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Brand new video coming at you with the Aniioki PROMAX A8. Now you guys might be thinking I reviewed this bike already, and I actually have, but this is the upgraded version. Yes, this is the 52 volt version compared to the 48 volt version that I did about 7 months ago. The last one we tested was great for range, and never even had to charge it the whole entire time I had it, but it also wouldn't make it up any hills. So I'm curious to know if this bike is worth the extra $300 over the 48 volt version, and if it makes it up any of those hills. But before we get into the hill tests and all the kind of stuff we're gonna do with a GoPro, let's give you guys some of the specs on this bike just in case you don't know anything about it yet. You have a 1,000-watt hub motor in the back. Definitely gets up to that top speed very quick. And the brakes seem to work pretty good as well. Next, let me show you guys this battery because this is what makes this bike. Now you have some keys right here so you can remove the battery, which is super nice because this bike is 101 pounds and you're not gonna wanna be carrying this up a flight of stairs or wherever you gotta take it to, so it's easier to just take the battery out and charge it inside your house unless you have a garage space like this. It is a very huge battery at 33 pounds, so you're definitely going to get a workout in. And if you guys can see that, you can screenshot that if you want. I gotta say, it's very convenient that it has a nice handle up here because it's such a heavy battery. Definitely makes it easy to pop in. The bike also makes a beeping noise when you install the battery back in there. Now next I need to show you how I look sitting on the bike. Now I'm 5'9" to give you a reference point of how you might look on it depending on your height. And I feel very good. This is with the seat all the way down. The seat for me can go up just a little bit to feel a little bit more comfortable. But I will say, if you're about 5'3" to 5'4", that's probably gonna be the minimum that you want to be to ride this bike. But if you are over 6 foot, this definitely goes very high. At this height, I can't even get on it. So if you're 6 foot, you should be fine. I personally have it a little bit up from the bottom, and right here, I feel pretty comfortable. Now let's move on to the lighting of this bike. I'm gonna turn off my lights to my garage, and I will say the headlight looks pretty good. It's a projector style housing, but you can see a huge circle reflection around it. I don't really think this is gonna like affect anything when you're riding, but it looks pretty good overall. We are close to the garage, so when I do move back like this, you're gonna see that it gets wider. We're definitely gonna do a second video on this, but so far the headlight looks great. It has like a yellow tint right on the very top, and it's like a clear white. I like it. The brake light is very bright. I'm actually a big fan of this brake light. Even without hitting the brakes, that thing is shining. And I like the fact that it just works on both of these. Now I'm really curious to see if I do turn the lights off. Okay, cool. The brake light still works even if the headlight is not on, so it's a nice safety feature when riding during the day. You have a nice rack back here. You also have holes to add a basket from their website that you could buy separately. The only thing I could not find on their website was the weight capacity of this rear rack. Underneath that rack, you're gonna have your huge 20x4" fat tire. It's made to go on the street and on the dirt. You got it laced up to that 1,000-watt hub motor back here that has a peak of 1,400 watts, and that's gonna be when your battery is fully charged. You have your 7-speed by Shimano. You also have the Journey derailleur right there attached to it with your nice huge chainring right in the front. You have your 180mm rotors right here, DY Island hydraulic brakes, super nice on this bike. You're gonna need them for the weight. And you also have a motor quick disconnect right there. And the kickstand as well is adjustable with a screw in the back. In this little box right here is where you're gonna find the controller to the e-bike, and it is 28 amps. Your front suspension looks like it has a lot of travel up here, which is very nice. However, there is no adjustments for anything on this front suspension that I noticed. Cable management is pretty good. A few zip ties will clean up a little bit of the stuff at the top, but overall, very impressive. You got little screws up here to adjust your hydraulic brakes, which is super nice, so you can get that nice perfect feel in your hands when riding. Half twist throttle up here with some nice grips that they put on here, and they lock as well. These feel very good. You got a horn button right underneath that. Your button layout is on the left-hand side. Keep in mind that this doesn't actually turn on the bike. This does nothing. You have to use the keys to do that. And then over here is where you have your nice glossy screen. And here's what I mean by having to use the keys to turn this bike on. So to turn it on when it's off, you hit the middle button. And sometimes it doesn't always work. You gotta sometimes double tap it. And there you go. And now the bike is on. And now to turn the bike off, you actually use the unlock button. So that's how you do that. I personally think this is a nice safety thing because someone that's gonna try to steal your bike is gonna hit the power button and wonder why the bike's not turning on. They could probably still pedal it away and steal it, but they're not gonna get very far. So as long as you have the keys on you, I think it's a nice safety thing. And other than that, guys, I think we have everything covered on this bike. You guys probably already knew that, but if you didn't, I just want to help some people out there kind of understand this bike a little bit better. But now I just want to go on the GoPro and let's take this thing out for a spin and see if it will climb that hill that I was talking about. All right, let's see the top speed on this bike. And we're also going to verify it with my speed meter and see if it's accurate or not. I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can. We're at 30 miles an hour right now. This is on a very full charge. The first ever mile getting put on this bike, so nothing's even broken in. Normally, sometimes on e-bikes, when you charge the battery over and over and get a little bit of usage out of the bike, sometimes you get an extra 1 or 2 miles per hour more. Right now, I'm seeing a speed of 30 miles an hour. Let's see if I pedal, if that changes anything. And it doesn't look like that changes nothing. Oh, okay, well, we're hitting 31 miles an hour now, and it's holding there for a while. Let me pull over and see if that's accurate. So the max mile per hour on my phone is showing 29. So it looks like it's a little bit off by 2 miles per hour. I've seen a few reviews on this bike, and I've seen people hit about 36 miles per hour on here. Now, I haven't went through any of the customized settings. This is right out of the box performance. So it is technically faster than a Class 3 e-bike, but I did expect a little tiny bit more of a top speed without having to adjust anything. Even if I need to adjust anything, I'm not even sure if I need to. Maybe if I only use the pedals and I don't use the throttle whatsoever, let's see what our top speed is. I'm gonna move this up into 7 so it feels a little bit more comfortable pedaling. Now let's see what my top speed will be. Definitely ghost pedaling, I'll tell you that. And there you go. 30 miles an hour still. I can definitely feel this bike has a little tiny bit more power than the 48 volt one, but not by much. We're in our designated speed test. I'm gonna see how fast this bike gets up to the end of this runway. If it's over 27, it's on the faster side of e-bikes. If it's under 27, it's slower. If it's at 27, it's normally similar to all the other e-bikes that I review on this channel. So we're gonna try it throttle only, and then we'll try out the pedals in the other section. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Definitely struggles a little bit like getting up there. I mean, this is a heavy bike. And we're at 20, 22, 25, 27, 28, 29. And we pretty much would have hit 30 before I slowed down right there. I just didn't know how well the brakes work. So this is definitely on the faster side of e-bikes. But if you keep in mind, we were off 2 miles per hour on our top speed on our GPS. Now I'm gonna use the pedals only, and let's see how well it gets up to speed. 1, 2, 3. I'm in gear 1. Woo, all right, felt pretty good. Gear shift perfectly fine, no issues. I'm already ghost pedaling. I feel like I was ghost pedaling at about 18 miles per hour. So no surprise there. It has a nice big chain ring on it, but it should be like 8 or 9 speed, so you can be able to pedal when you're going this fast. I'm basically just pedaling enough to activate that cadence sensor in there just to give me all the power. We're going downhill slightly. I'm curious to see if we're gonna reach any other higher top speed. And no, we did not. Still 30 miles an hour. So the sun just went down, unfortunately. There's a lot of clouds up there, and I like to show you guys these bikes outside instead of being in my garage, so you guys can get a look of like real world, like out in the wild, how it looks. And I will say it's a pretty badass looking bike. I love the gold or yellow right here. It is non-removable. You can't take these off. You can't take none of these back ones off. Not a very big fan of them putting the website on the bike, but I can deal with all the other logos. It's just this one needs to go. I'm sorry. I don't want to advertise your website when I'm riding around. It would be nice though if companies started putting these stickers on bikes so you can actually remove them and unbrand them and put your own logo if you want. But it's a gorgeous bike overall. It's all pretty much black except that little gold accent. And I feel like this is one of the sexiest looking bikes. It's just very heavy. Now, the moment I have been waiting for is the hill test. I remember doing this test and it got almost all the way to the top and then just cut out. And I'm really curious if this one's gonna do it. So without further ado, let's test this out. 1, 2, 3. Throttle only, and then we'll do the pedals. 52 volt, come on. Come on. Oh, barely. Wow. Let's try the same test with using pedals only, and let's see how well it gets up this. No throttle, by the way, so I'm not going to pull the throttle. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Go, go, go. Go, go. There you go. That's how you got to do it if you got to get up a hill. This definitely feels very comfortable out here. No complaints. Nice and smooth. Whoa! Now I am getting some like rattles and stuff from the bike, but other than that, it feels great. This is a very planted bike for how heavy it is. It just feels like you're connected to whatever road or dirt path you're on. And the grips are great, by the way. All right, we're about to hit a bumpy section. Let's see how well it does. Woo! We're going pretty crazy right now. Oh man, I handle pretty good. The only thing I'm noticing, even though I feel connected to the bike, is just my butt keeps coming out of the seat every so often. But the seat overall feels nice and comfortable. I think I do have to give this thing probably a 7.5 out of 10 for off-road. It feels really good. Let's get on to this turning test, ladies and gentlemen. Feels great. Definitely got to use a little bit of muscle trying to like turn the bike because it is very heavy, but once you get it leaning, you're good. The weight goes with you. Yeah, very good. But something you're not gonna like here is the turning radius. And look how bad it is. This is all you get to turn. And you can see where it's hitting. It's actually this bolt hitting the top battery. So if they didn't have this right here, it would turn a little bit more before the actual forks hit the battery compartment of the bike. But that means that when you're trying to make U-turns and go around, it's not as tight as some other e-bikes would be. Now it still turns okay, but that means when you're loading it up on a bike rack or you're moving it in your garage or something, you want to probably lift it up like this and try to swing it out of the way, unless you're going to be like doing this, back and forth trying to get in the spot you need. Next is the brake test. I'm going to try to hold about 30 miles an hour because we know the speedo's off 2 miles an hour, and I'm going to try to hit it right now. All right, well, they made a lot of noise, but they definitely feel like it stopped pretty good. Now here is a line that if we stop at this line or behind, it's one of the very good e-bikes. And I will say that it stopped after the line ever so slightly, so it's not one of the best performing e-bikes to stop. But you got to understand, this thing is over 100 pounds. The heavier your bike is, the more beefier of a brake setup you need. So I feel like I'm going to give that a pass because they worked very good for the weight of this bike. I'm really enjoying this bike, guys. It feels like a nice big adult e-bike. It's still made for shorter people, but it just feels solid. And the range is going to be crazy on this bike as well. The last time I rode the last one, I never charged it, and I don't even know if we went down more than 2 battery bars. You're going to get so much range out of this thing, which they say on the 52 volt version, you'll get about 100 to 120 miles of range. But keep in mind, that is in pedal assist number 1, and that is actually pedaling the bike. That's not using throttle. Under throttle, you're probably going to get roughly about 60 to 70 miles of range, which is still pretty good. Next thing I want to do is come down this hill, and I want to see if we'll go any faster or if the bike cuts out whatsoever when we hit our top speed. Some bikes do that. 31. That's it. We can't get anything over 31 miles an hour, even coming down an overpass. This bike is just locked at 30 miles an hour. I also want to let you guys know that even though I have been testing the top speed, I am in P6 settings, and I can't go any higher than 51 kilometers per hour. So there's nothing in the settings that's going to unlock my speed to go faster. Also, P7 is at the max of 28 amps, so we're good on that, and everything else looks good. Funny enough, for me to get out of the custom menu, I had to turn the bike off and back on. None of these buttons would do anything, even holding the original buttons to get into the P settings. Had to turn the bike off, now we're on the ride again. Next thing I want to test out is the quickness of the throttle. And I gotta say, it felt pretty snappy, but here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty instant, guys. Pretty instant. Let's do that another time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's pretty good. I would say it's probably less than a second. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, maybe half a second if that, and this thing is gone. It will start giving you all the power within another half a second. It's pretty good. Now let's test out the pedals. 1, 2, 3. Oh, dang, okay. Just as quick as the throttle. I was not expecting that. But from a standstill, it did feel like it took a little bit to get moving because this bike is so heavy. So if you're sitting right here at 1, 2, 3, I'm in gear number 1. It definitely takes a while to get going because this bike is so heavy. But if you're actually rolling and get into the pedals, it activates pretty quick. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, just as fast as the throttle. Now let's try out this horn. I'm gonna admit, I have been playing with the horn a little bit. I've been having a little bit of fun. And here we go. How do you guys feel about that horn? I'll be honest. Me being in person with this bike, I'm not impressed. It's coming off of the rear of the headlight, so it's not very loud whatsoever. I feel like people on bike paths maybe might hear you if you're going kind of slow or you're really close to them, but if they're probably like 30 feet away, I don't think anyone's gonna hear that. But what's fun about using this horn is if you barely hold it, it makes a cool noise. I would rather use the horn like that than actually push it normally like this. So far, guys, I am 7.5 miles into this ride. Haven't lost a single battery bar yet, and I just feel nice and comfortable. The seat is great. The suspension is a little tiny bit on the firm side. It's not super plush, but it's working pretty good. Now, when you really hit a pothole, you will feel your butt kind of come out of the seat a little bit, but I also would rather have that than the suspension bottoming out and feeling a hard jolt to my body. And the suspension in the front feels really good if you're gonna be over probably 240, 250 pounds. It's really gonna come in handy for you. I'm 170, so it feels a little bit on the firmer side for me. So I pulled over here really quick because I wanted to see what the distance said on my phone compared to the distance on here. Keep in mind, I went up and down my street maybe like 0.5 of a mile. So this is almost pretty accurate. On my phone, it says 7.62 miles, and we've been riding for 30 minutes right now. And we have done 8.3 miles that it says on the display on the Aniioki bike. Our max top speed has been 29 miles per hour. I haven't seen anything faster than that. I'm gonna say this is a solid 30 mile per hour e-bike. I really do like riding this bike around, guys. If you need a light bike, I get it. But if weight is not a concern to you and you don't care to have a heavy bike because you got a garage that you can like pull it into, I think this is a no-brainer if you just need range. I think range is gonna probably be the biggest thing that you're buying this bike for. And it's really comfortable overall. Woo! All right, so yeah, hitting those speed bumps, suspension is a little firm. I definitely came out of my seat. And hi, doggy. All right, guys, let's go back to the house. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on it, even though I kind of said a lot of it already. All right, guys, so here are my final conclusions of this bike. Now, the biggest question I really had was, is this one better than the 48 volt version? And I gotta say, for the extra $300, I'd probably save that money, keep it in your pocket, and get the 48 volt version, because going up that same hill that I did, yes, this one did it. Barely. We were doing like 1 mile per hour getting up that hill. The other one didn't even do it. It did get to the very top, but it didn't get over the hump under power, and I had to reverse and go back down the hill. You can watch that review video if you want. I just personally don't think it has enough power to justify the $300. The only way to justify that $300 is that you have a 52 volt 60 amp hour battery in here, which is slightly larger if you multiply those numbers together compared to the 48 volt 60 amp hour. So if you do the math, you're probably going to get an extra 10 more miles of range out of this bike, because you have the same 1,000 watt hub motor in the back, 1,400 watt peak as the 48 volt. Nothing changed. You got the same rack, same seat, same handlebar setup, which, by the way, I didn't mention yet, is that the handlebar setup does not have any adjustments to it whatsoever. It is in a fixed position because there is no actual stem on here to loosen those bolts and move it around. So if you want that adjustability, even though I was perfectly comfortable on this bike, you would have to get a BMX style stem and some BMX handlebars, and you can change the setup of this bike dramatically. But I actually kind of like it. It's a nice, perfect riding position. It's not like a cafe racer style too far forward. It's not a beach cruiser that's way out here. It feels pretty good for me, but if you are a different size size than me, maybe you're 6'1", 6'2", you might feel a little bit different and you might feel it's a little bit more cramped. Pedaling felt okay. Ghost pedaling happened at like 18 miles an hour, so not the best bike if you want to like pedal out there. No torque sensors, just a cadence sensor, so there's no feedback. All you have to do is get that sensor moving, it will give you all the power possible. But there are quick responses on the throttle and the pedals. I like that. One thing I would keep in mind is that these tires, because this bike gets so much range, you're seriously going to get probably like 60 miles of range guaranteed using throttle only if you're probably around 150 pounds or so. It's these tires. I would actually change these tires out to like a motorcycle tire. You're going to lose a little bit of power because they're going to be twice as heavy, and you might lose a little bit of range, maybe like 5 miles if that, but it's really going to save your ass if you are 30 or 40 miles in the opposite direction of your house or wherever you need to be. So just something to think about. That's something I would do personally, because I would not feel comfortable wanting to ride this bike for, let's say, 100 miles if I'm going to put it in a lower pedal assist and actually pedal this bike. I don't feel comfortable being that far away from my house and having to get a ride. So I would probably replace the tires. I do like the fenders. The suspension was a little bit on the firm side. The headlights seemed okay. I'll do a second video on it, taking it to work, and we'll see. But it's the same as a 48 volt. So if you saw that, then you probably don't need to see the other video. But I'm just curious to, you know, take it to work and just see how it is on day to day. The suspension can be adjusted a little bit. I like that they have the little Allens on the side, so it makes it easy if you want to change out these springs or whatnot. And overall, other than that, guys, I gotta say, just get the 48 volt version, spend that money on like the rear basket or something like that, because this would be a perfect bike for like Uber Eats or DoorDash, because you're gonna get so much miles of range. And if you have an extra battery like this and you're in the same area, you can go home and swap out the battery. You could be doing DoorDash all day long. I like it, but the 48 volt seems like more of a better option. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching the channel. You guys are the true MVPs. I always try to be unbiased on this channel, even though the company sent this product to me. And I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll see you guys. Peace out. And this is what I mean by the turning radius. So when I need to put this bike somewhere, I'll just lift it up by the back.